Hello and welcome to another episode of the Faith Over Comfort podcast. Before we get started today, we just wanted to remind you to stay connected with us. If you're enjoying the podcast and what God is doing through Faith Over Comfort, just make sure to subscribe to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like, that subscribe, and the notification bell so you never miss an episode of what we've got going on. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can also stay up to date with all of our different recaps of episodes of all of our latest drops. We just did our hat giveaway, and you can be a part of something like that. Every part of your, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, all of it helps what we're doing here to go further. And then also don't forget to check out and order from faithovercomfort.com. You can grab a hat there, you can grab some t-shirts there, and they all come with a little bit of something extra. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Let's get into it.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Faith Over Comfort podcast. We are so happy that you're here with us. If you're watching on video,
that's how you watch things. Yeah,
that's how you watch things. If you didn't know, you might be looking at me and thinking, "Oh no, did her face get burned?" Well, it did. It did get burned. So I'm looking a little crazy.
Tell them what happened. Tell them the people need to know.
I was cooking a turkey. No, I'm just kidding. I got a CO2 laser done, and Tom likes to say that I put stress on myself. What do you always say? That it's self-inflicted.
I'd say what I tell you every day is I love you.
Yeah, he says sometimes I do these things to myself. Well, in my brain, I thought this is because it's like a week of downtime. So in my brain, I thought I'll do it during Thanksgiving week. We don't have a ton going on. Because I'm not working. That was the thing, is I wanted to do it during a time that I didn't have a bunch of appointments with work, and work was very minimal this week. And I had not a single clue how intense this laser was going to be. Here's the thing. I was told. I just never wrapped I didn't process it. I think I was just so excited to do it. And for the results, that's how I am. I think of all the oh, it's going to be so good. The results are going to be great. I don't always think about the logistic side to things. Would you agree?
100%. She doesn't know how anything is done. She just knows that it gets done.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
So they dipped her face in boiling water.
So there I was. And I was like, wow, this is way more intense than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I also underestimated how many get-togethers we had this week, from with friends to family. Yep. And you guys are seeing my face now. I genuinely looked like a burn victim this whole week. Dark, dead skin.
There were certain parts
on my face
where it looked like you just
bleeding,
went face deep in some chocolate cake.
Exactly, because it was just here.
It was only where her mouth was.
Yeah. What did we say that one day that I was like Mrs. Trunchbull?
Well,
Trunchbull.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
From Matilda.
Mrs.
Trunchbull.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's my life update.
That's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Moral of the story is, if you get a CO2 laser, know all the details. Have zero plans.
Yeah. Don't go outside. You can't put makeup on.
Nothing.
All of it.
Don't do it during the holidays.
But she's okay.
But you know what? By Christmas,
that's what happened. She's
my
okay.
skin will be flawless. Okay.
Yeah. See, that's what matters.
Watch, I'm still peeling.
Beauty is pain. Or pain.
Pain is beauty.
Pain is
no.
Beauty is pain.
Beauty is pain.
That's what I said.
That's my grandma taught me.
Okay. Well, in today's episode, well, you know what, we gotta do a shout out real quickly because we concluded our hat giveaway this
Oh,
week,
yeah. Yeah, we did.
and it was absolutely incredible. And the winner of the hat giveaway, I did get permission to share this story, and it's something too that I have to just kind of tag a little bit because it's incredible how something like what we're doing has gone so far. And
Mhm.
so, okay, if you are following along with us on Instagram, we did a hat giveaway. And what was so cool about it is, gosh, I actually lost count of the numbers. But there were a lot of people that saw it. There were a lot of people that commented. There was a lot of people that shared it. And the ending winner was somebody that when I asked him, like, hey, we just want to let you know you won. Can we get your address so we can send you the two hats? They told us how they heard about us. It was not on the podcast. It was not on social media. They were in Nashville, Tennessee, and they saw somebody wearing one of our shirts, and that basically sums it up that they from there ordered a shirt, and that's how they more or less started following
That's
us.
so crazy.
And if I remember correctly, it's Nancy Farley, I believe is who it was.
Shout out, Nancy.
Shout out, Nance. And it's just incredible because we don't know anybody in Nashville, Tennessee.
No.
The
Not that I can think
The
of.
closest person that we have is in Franklin, but no offense to them, they didn't buy anything that we that we sell. And
We still love you.
Yeah, we love you more than you know. But yeah, and then that's basically the series of events. And so yeah, Nancy Farley.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it is. And so we just thank you guys so much. Even for those of you that maybe God's calling you to start something, you're just like, how's it ever going to make an impact? We're doing this, and somehow we got into Nashville, Tennessee, and it formed a relationship with Nancy, and then here we are, and it's something that's so great. So
Yeah.
it's going a long way in some unique ways. But thank you guys for everybody who shared or liked or commented or followed. It was just incredible. So
Yeah.
we just thank you guys so much. We do have an episode though to get into today that we were very excited about. I wanted to start it out by asking you a question, Justin.
Oh, great.
Here it comes. Ready? What thoughts come to your mind? If that was picked up in the microphone, awesome.
He had a little bubble in his
I don't even know
throat.
what it is. What thoughts come to your mind when I say, I just want to be alone? Knee-jerk reaction. What do you think?
Oh.
Okay. But hold on, that what you just did was an authentic, genuine reaction.
Yeah. But I was going to say I would have when we were dating, because you did that a lot when we were dating.
Yeah.
You would be like, I don't want to hang out tonight. I just want to be home. And I remember being like,
respectfully, that's not what I said.
I don't know.
What I would say was I'm going to spend some time with the Lord.
Yeah. Or I'm sure you never said that you just wanted to be home.
No. I would never do that. I
That
was
is
so
a bunch of
infatuated with you.
baloney.
You are a bunch of baloney.
Yeah. Well, I was offended back then.
You were back
now, you know,
You couldn't give a
over
rip.
10 years of, I'm going to go have your alone time. No, I'm just kidding. My knee-jerk reaction is right now and where we're at is thinking something's wrong.
Oh, okay. Is that why when you said that you're like, oh, well.
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't want to be around me.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even bothered. Like we both, enjoy our little, alone time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would think, oh, is he okay?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
what's wrong?
Beautiful setup. And before I continue, I just gotta take a drink of my Blue Bottle real quick. Unofficial sponsor. Unofficial. Waiting for you, Blue Bottle.
While you take a sip, I'm so distracted. So quick side note, another life update from this week is
past few weeks actually.
No.
Are we talking about the cats?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We had a cute little, we think he's like a teenager cat. Like he's young cat.
Yeah.
A cute
He
little
talks
cat.
back.
Yeah.
He's real disrespectful. He's putting posters on his wall.
Stupid. But he showed up on our front porch, and I immediately was like, no. No, no, no. My brother and sister-in-law were going to take him. And that's what we thought the plan was, because he just was like hanging out. He's super cute. But I was like, no. Well, then let me tell you, this cat never left. And
Well, the kids fell in love with him.
the kids fell in love. So, of course, I ordered some cat food and some cat toys.
Yeah.
But I was like, he'll just stay outside. He'll stay outside. And over this last week and a half, he's been growing on us. But the reason I keep getting distracted is because now all these other neighborhood cats keep coming up to our porch.
Words out. We give out free food.
Yeah. And I'm like, no. I'm not trying to have a community over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's pretty cute. Kids are in love with him. We've been letting him in the house more and more, but he's not sleeping in the house yet. Mm-hmm. He has a little bed on our porch.
That's how I started out.
Yeah, exactly. But if you see me going like this, it's because there's a little cat posse out on our front porch right now. And it's distracting me.
Well, the reason I asked about when I asked you, like, what would you say if I just wanted to tell you I wanted to be alone, is because, I mean, obviously, we're talking about that today, like the power of being alone, the power of like alone time, but in two varieties, because I do think that is what happens, is when someone says, I just want to be alone. It's like knee-jerk reaction is like, oh my gosh, is something wrong?
Yeah.
And not necessarily.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. And so I wanted to talk about that today. Because there are a lot of benefits to being alone. Before we actually get into it, like, we have Bible verses that we will share when it comes to like what the Bible talks about, and the example that Jesus gives in regards to being alone. But there's a couple of articles that I will actually link in the show notes for this. But there's one article from the Ohio State Health and Discovery says a couple of things about the importance of being alone. One thing, it says, by taking a brief pause alone, our nervous system can settle, our mind can settle, and our body can settle. So the importance of being alone has an effect from what they've been able to study. A couple of key points that they mention in this article is that alone time can increase empathy. So if you think about like being empathetic, feeling what other people are feeling, when you spend alone time with a certain circle or a group of friends or your coworkers, you can develop a we versus them mentality. But when you spend time alone, it helps you to develop more of a compassion for the people who may not fit into your inner circle, is what they found out. Solitude also increases productivity. And I've heard this before when it comes to the idea of like technology and like having a cell phone, like no one's ever bored anymore. Mm-hmm. It was in the reference that because you're no longer bored, your mind no longer has the ability to free think. And so, if you've ever been like on a plane or on a train, or maybe just the passenger in a car, and your mind is wandering, and maybe, if you have an artistic mind, you're creating things, and all of a sudden you realize, actually, that thing I just created, that could be a solution to something. Or, maybe you're able to sit there and think through some things that you are responsible for, and these things that are kind of like weighing on you, and you have this ability to be more productive because you're solving those problems. But because we have cell phones that are either text messages or that you're getting back to, social media you're scrolling, or games that you're playing, it's your mind is already attached to something and to accomplish it. One last thing that this particular Ohio State article says is that being alone can help you build mental strength. We are social creatures, and it's important for us to have strong connections with other people. But solitude may be just as important. Studies show that the ability to tolerate alone time has been linked to increased happiness, better life satisfaction, and improved stress management. And people who enjoy their alone time experience less depression. And I've read a couple of other articles. I'll link them in the show notes, but that's a common theme, is that stress is reduced when you spend alone and having that alone time. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I can see how all of those make sense, because I feel like I I go walking. Like walking is one of my alone time moments. When you're a parent and it's hard to get that alone time. Like you never really have like it's you don't come by alone time very often. And when I go on a walk, it is so crazy how I feel like a reset happens. Like you can be really annoyed or really overwhelmed or really frustrated, and you go on a walk and you just kind of sit in your thoughts. Something that Tom and I were talking about when we were preparing for this episode was I started walking when we did the 75 hard, which was back in 2023. And when I went on these walks, I used to always feel like I had to play a podcast. I needed to be like productive on walks. But then you do 75 days of this and you kind of, there were even some days I was doing 2 walks a day as both of my workouts, and you kind of just start to like not turn anything on. And I remember this one time specifically, I was on this walk and I wasn't listening to anything. I wasn't even praying. Like I was just sitting with my thoughts. And the thought occurred to me, we never sit and just process. Like our culture and our world is so busy, go, 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 that we never sit and just process our thoughts and like what's going on. And it doesn't even have to be like, when I say process, it doesn't even have to be anything dramatic. Like we don't process like even the smallest things, whether it's hard feelings you're having or really good feelings you're having, or maybe a conversation that you realize that you had, but like you jumped into like going somewhere else. So you never really fully processed. And that was interesting how you said it makes you more empathetic, because there have been times that I've been on a walk and I'm just in my thoughts and I think, and I'm thinking about someone, or I'm thinking about a conversation that I had, and I'm like, dang, that's actually really sad. Or dang, that I feel for them. Like I should check in on them, but in the moment of having the conversation, it didn't click. I didn't have that same empathy, but once I processed it later, then I was like, man, so it is really interesting, but it is, I think that it's just so common to get so caught up in the day to day and the go, go, go that like, and honestly, it can be uncomfortable. Sitting with your thoughts can be uncomfortable. I've had seasons of that.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about too, is because I do think that a lot of us, and I'm even, speaking to myself as well, like you don't, maybe your day is so jam packed with like problem solving and answering questions or whatever, maybe careers that people are constantly wanting from you, that like when you start facing like the heaviness maybe of like your own, like, dude, I made that decision, I'm not ready to really think about why I made that decision, that I if I could take it back, and or maybe there's something going on with your family, or maybe something that is probably a reason to stay busy as well, to stay out of your own thoughts, because those could be scary.
And I just had that happen recently where something happened and I knew that it hurt me, but I didn't give myself time to really think about it. And then I went on a walk and I just kind of started praying and thinking, and I just had a good cry on the walk. And I didn't even see that coming. Sometimes I'll go on a walk thinking like I've got a lot of emotions built up. I didn't even see that cry coming when I went on the walk, but it was like I finally sat with the hurt.
Yeah.
And, we listened to a sermon this week, and something I felt really convicted of is the whole thing was about being lazy. And one of the things that he said is that sometimes we can just be so busy and we think that being busy is productive, but we're not being productive in the right things. And sometimes we will fill our time with like constant busyness, and you're not even being productive because you're not dealing with the things that you actually need to deal with. And I feel like I can be guilty of that, where our life is really full and work keeps me busy. The kids keep me busy. We have a lot of different things going on, but I will avoid the inner work that I know that needs to be done because it makes me uncomfortable. So it's like, yes, I'm productive and I'm constantly doing and I'm working and, I would not consider us lazy people at all. But when it comes to those deep rooted things, those things that you have to face and you have to feel and you have to work through and you have to acknowledge, that's when it's, I tend to avoid those things,
Well, I think, and I think a lot of people, I mean, I've been guilty of it too, where like, I'll sign up to go to the gym or whatever because of the way that it's set up. I'm like, I'll sign up or whatever. And then like, maybe as it turns like to 8 p.m., I'm like, actually, I'm just I don't want to wake up that early tomorrow, and cancel it. And I mean, like you have those moments. I mean, even like with like a diet, like we've done that with diets where I don't even know what it is about food, but sometimes after a stressful day, you just want to eat something that just makes you feel good, rather than sticking to whatever diet plan that you're on,
But what is so funny about that you say is how often does it actually make you feel good? This is a thought.
Depends on what you eat, because I eat chocolate. It's my go-to. I feel
but
great
it feels
every
good
time.
in the moment. But do you actually feel good after? Because that's a thought that I've been having recently. I have been, Tom and I have shared, we've been like really focusing on, getting healthy and eating out less and all of the things. And like we each have like plans that we're following. And every time I step outside of it, it might feel good in that moment, but it doesn't feel good later. And that has seriously been something I have been kind of sitting on and thinking about. And I've been reminding myself when I do go and I feel tempted, I'm like, you won't feel good after this.
Yeah, if you can get yourself into that mindset prior,
I mean,
that's hard.
We talk about that with sin too. Like, how often does something seem so appealing, but the conviction that hits after the conviction of the sin, or maybe you have a moment where you pop off on someone that's been upsetting you and it feels really good in that moment to like give them, a piece of your mind.
Yeah.
But you sit and you think about it and it doesn't feel good later. Like, I don't know, like I've really been thinking about that thought lately. Like, we want to indulge in these certain things, or we want to, or like not going to the gym. How do you feel Monday morning when you realize?
Pathetic.
Exactly.
Pathetic.
And we know that and we still do it. Whoa, I'm getting all passionate here.
You are.
I don't know. It's just like, isn't that a crazy? But again, going back to giving yourself time to think about it, I've always known like, I'm probably going to feel guilty after this, or, this isn't going to make me feel my best. Like if you're going to go freaking slam Taco Bell or something, like, you're not going to probably feel good after. But it has not been up until recently that I feel like I've actually been like thinking about it, and like before doing the act that I know is going to make me not feel good, like stopping myself. You know what I mean? And being like, think about this. Like, you're not going to feel good when you have check-in day and you know that you cheated on these other days. You're going to feel disappointed in yourself if your results aren't what you want them to be. So it's literally not worth it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting too, because I just feel like, where are you supposed to learn to get alone? Where is it? I used to really be against self-help. I always thought that sounded so selfish. I thought that was like, you're like borderline just saying like I no one else is going to take care of me. I need to take care of myself. And I've wrestled with this for a while, and just recently I realized that the entire world has access to us at all times. Not only through text messages, but then like, if you post something online, then social media, whatever avenue you take, they're talking to you about it. They're commenting, and Dude, I've just been such a recipient from so many people that are like, yeah, you don't text back. Yeah, you don't call back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I started a conversation. I'm so much better in person.
Mhm.
Um, it goes like text message is at the very bottom, then it's like phone call, and then it's in person. Like, that's from least to best. And it's just that thing where, just because the whole world has access to you doesn't necessarily mean that they should have access to
Mhm.
you. And you do need to set some boundaries, and you do need to say, like, I'm putting my phone on do not disturb. And then, like, what starts happening, because I almost did that in church the other day, because you drop your kids off. Well, the kids care needs to have contact with you in case something happens. And I started wrestling, like, should I put it on do not disturb? I don't want to be distracted during the service. And but at the same time, like, what if an emergency happens, blah, blah, blah. So you start having this inner battle. But it really does just come down to, like, you can say, I just want to be alone. I'm just
Yeah.
going to go away. I'm just going to go be by myself. I'm going to go on a walk, or I'm going to go on a drive. Just these things that will separate you. But it's also biblical, and it's also important. I read
Mhm.
those articles at the beginning because science, a couple of those were from 2023 was the earliest. And I'm sure they're still coming out with different studies, but science is kind of catching up. Like, it is important to be alone. Why was it so frowned upon for you to have minimal amounts of friends? No, you got to have a whole bunch of friends.
Mhm.
You have to have a wide variety of friends. You've got to be tolerant of everybody and all these different things. It's like the world, we don't need to be best friends with everybody in the world.
Mhm.
And I think that's what robs us of it. And you feel guilty. Back when I worked at the church, it was one of those things where I felt like I could never turn my phone off, because the right thing to do was be available for them,
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't get called a lot in the middle of the night, but, on
But
those,
it happened.
but it
Yeah.
happened. And that was just something where you just go, wait a second,
It's
what's good? What's
and
bad?
like the water gets muddy in careers like that, or I don't know, like it can be hard because not only do people have access to you, people feel like they have access to you 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like not only do we all have cell phones and we can hit up each other whenever we want, but I do feel like there are people who feel like they can call you anytime and you should answer anytime, and that can be hard. And to be honest, I used to never be able to understand the whole like not responding to text message or phone call thing, because I used to be so on it. And I swear, with like each kid, and just as life
As
gets
you
like
grow, yeah.
as you grow and life gets, more and more hectic, there are some days I go to bed and I have like 25 unread messages, or even more than that at times. And I never used to understand that. It used to drive me crazy. I'm like, it is not that hard to respond. Like, I don't know. But then I realize I understand it now, because it's also one of those things too, where you sometimes, if you're planning something, it's like you can't just like respond back. It's like you got to go check the calendar, you got to check with you, we got to make sure, see if we have a sitter, or you know what I mean, like there's a whole process to the response. It's not simply just like a yes or no.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's a balance to it, because I also think that in our world, this is how we communicate too. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's where it gets hard.
I think that there's a balance, because sometimes I do feel convicted in like it should not take me this many days to respond, or you know what I mean? I feel like it's kind of going back to like having a village. You know what I mean? Have you heard that? Like if you want a village, you have to be the village. And like kind of like if you want to have relationships, and or especially we have a lot of family who's living away from us right now. And like our form of communication is through our phones and through, you know what I mean? So like even if you're like not necessarily good at it, you kind of have to be to maintain those relationships too. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
there's definitely like a balance that you have to find of like respecting those boundaries and not letting people have access to you 24/7. And especially if you maybe had like a crazy day at work, or you're going through something and you need that alone time and you need to create that space. But at the same time, I do think that, you know, you can't abuse. Like you got to respond to people too. You know what I mean? There's a balance.
Yeah, and I think too, like it is something that just understand. Like, let's not try to paint the worst picture in the world of people when they don't text you back.
Totally.
Now I will say
Yes.
this: when I text you, and I know that you're on your phone, that does something in my mind when it's like, dude, why the heck isn't she freaking texting me back? She's on her phone. Blah 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 blah. And but you and I in our conversations, you're like, dude, I was in the middle of something. Like, I'm not gonna break off my train of thought just because you said, "Are you hungry?"
Yeah.
You know?
So this is another tricky thing is I think that people don't just use their phones anymore for phone calls or text messages. We were just talking about this. Like our phones, you have your bank account on your phone. You have bank statements coming through your email. You pay bills on your phone.
Your home security's on your phone.
Yeah, like there's so many things on our phones. Like now, like Tom, like groceries, or right now with Christmas shopping, so much of it's done online and done on your phone. Like so much is on your phone, and I think that this is where I've gotten a little bit of more grace and understanding, like maybe why people don't respond right away. Is my one of my jobs is done on my phone, and it's also done through social media. And there are so many days that like I might be posting on social media or responding to DMs. So like, yes, I'm on my phone, but I haven't made my way over to my text messages yet. Does that make sense? Or I'm responding to women on my team, or I'm in my team chat, but I'm not checking my text messages. And it's kind of this weird, I understand it's weird because you're like, but you're on your phone. But like sometimes I genuinely don't see it. Or like, again, going back to like capacity, you're just not able to go back to this yet. Does that make sense?
And yeah, well, because you can get burnt out from like using your phone. You're
Totally.
just there's some times where or a laptop too, but just like that idea of just being on your phone and you're constantly talking. And this is the catch though, because the main priority, because we have people that we're going to have on the podcast here soon that just have big families, and the priority is the family first. That's where all your attention, and then everybody else gets what's left over. Like that is the ultimate goal. Like when you think about it, I should be nicer to you than I am to somebody I work with.
Yeah.
I should have my attention go towards my kids and my wife more than my attention goes. Now there will be a day where like, hey guys, I gotta work. I gotta do some things. I need to just be completely away from you right now. Let me just finish this. But that should not be a long-term thing. And when you think about it, like this idea of just getting burnt out, maybe you are working from your phone a lot or working from your tablet a lot or whatever. And those outside people, like if you're not a family member, you've got to just understand like you are not the priority. And so, yeah, but the thing that I needed, blah, blah, blah. Something that I learned in ministry was someone's lack of preparation does not become my emergency. So I understand that you needed me. I get that. But I was not available. You should not hold that against me. Now, if there is something where it's like, dude, every time I call you, blah, 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 and you never call me back, then I don't know, maybe that's another conversation for you to have, because there are certain people that will like call me and I'm like, I promise they call at the worst time every single time, and I've got to eventually call them back. And, you just kind of learn how to go with it. But the importance of being alone and setting that time aside is all throughout Scripture. So just New Testament alone, we have Jesus. He was only on the earth for 33 years, give or take. That's like a rough number. He still spent time alone. He wasn't trying. It's so interesting. Like if you've ever heard the expression like a mega church, like this church, it's bigger than like 1,000 people. You might even say like 1,000 people church is a mega church. But like if he was trying to start a mega church, he should have been doing, retreats with his staff. He should have been doing, altar calls every Sunday, if not every single day. He should have been doing miracles. He should have been busy, 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 because he only had 33 years to be on the earth because he knew that his time was short. There are certain passages of scripture where when someone was saying, Jesus, we need you to do this thing, he goes, my time hasn't come yet. So he had some form of reference that his time was going to be short. And so then he should have been going, going, going. But so many times do you see Jesus, it says that he would go away to pray. He would go to a mountaintop to be alone. He would go and he would spend that time with God, and he would spend that time talking with the Father. And so if our Savior does it, then that's our example. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
And then you go into the Old Testament, and like in the Psalms, you have David who goes, God, morning and evening, I will meditate on your word. And, I know that like yoga has really adopted the term meditation, but just like think about that. Like you're just sitting in silence. You're thinking about whatever it is, that you're thinking about. And like, what would happen if you were to sit there with God and just bring him the things that are on your mind? Whether it's goofy, whether it's serious, whether it's a worry and a concern, or whether it's like a praise and a gratitude, moment, like to sit there and bring all of those things, like it would just change your relationship with God. It would make it so much more personal. We were in the car, I think it was all of us today, and Scarlett said something like something about to the effect that Dad, you're not the funniest person alive, or something like that. And I was like, okay, well then who is? And she goes, God is. And I remember thinking like, oh, yeah, God can be funny. Like, but you only know that if you're in a relationship with him where, you're starting to connect the dots of the things that God did. And you go, wait a second, God, did you really show up in this thing? And having that time to sit and think about maybe a prayer you prayed a month ago and how it got answered, and it got answered in such an unconventional way. And you go, dang, God, like you really are funny. Like you're not laughing like you went and saw a comedian, but like the way that you did that it surprised me, And I think that could just be something that's so important when it comes to that alone time with God. Like you see those examples from scripture and just do the things that they do.
And I think that going back to all of the statistics you brought up at the beginning of the episode, it just all makes sense. Like if you are sitting alone with Jesus and being still and allowing yourself to just be alone, unbothered, whether you are worshiping or whether you, like I said, with the walking, like just processing and thinking through things and reminiscing, or like it doesn't always have to be like negative or hard. You could be reminiscing a memory. Like how often do we, like we're talking about like processing hard feelings, but how often do we take the time to process our joy? Like we're so quick to, experience a moment and then we move along. Like even thinking about Ellie, we celebrated our daughter's first birthday, and it's like the party happens and it's fun and it's so exciting. And, the next day I made sure just like the whole day, like I just wasn't really on my phone. I didn't worry about posting any photos or anything like that. Like I just wanted to be there and present. And then the next day I sat while she played with her toys with Scarlett the next morning and just sat and went through the photos and, and you're just like, you reminisce in that moment. And I feel like how often do we allow ourselves to even just do that, but it really makes sense. Like you said, the empathy or people who can be alone are more I think you said more confident, like less depressed,
Mm.
things like that. Like it really all makes sense because going back to how we're talking about people having access to you all the time. So not only do people have access to you all the time, I definitely think that there are a lack of boundaries with work for so many people, whether that's being hit up after hours, or maybe you're someone who works multiple jobs. So you go from one job to the next job, you're constantly needed there. And then, throw in, we're constantly, especially as parents, like you give so much of yourself away to your kids, and you slam your laptop shut just to jump up and go make dinner and do bed and bath and all of that. And then when the kids are asleep, you got to make sure you spend some time with your spouse. Like we're giving so much of ourselves away that that is exhausting, and that will lead to like I like to say, a mentee bee.
Hmm.
And, it makes sense that that alone time genuinely like fills your cup. And I'm saying this too from someone who's naturally extroverted. I, feel like for so many years, what would fill my cup would be people. I love to get together with my girlfriends and things like that. But I do think the older I get, the more like I feel like my like I truly get filled up from that time with Jesus and sitting and being still and being alone and being uninterrupted and just like allowing myself to process things, think about things. Like it's a different type of um it's like your soul. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it fills your soul. So then that
Mm.
way you're able to come back and be like, okay, like let's get back into it. Like I'm good.
And Jesus even said, go to your secret place, because your Father who's in secret, he'll be there. Like this. And the reason why I emphasize that is because it kind of shows that it's an intimate time. It's
Mhm.
secret, it's personal, it's private, it's not for everybody to see. And I have used that so much in building my relationship with God, because he knows things, not because he knows all things. He knows things about my life personally because I've told him. Not
Mhm.
because, oh, he's almighty and he sees everything. No, it's because I have laid my heart out in front of him and
Mhm.
just said, here are the thoughts that I think. Here are the things that I want to do. Here are the things that I have done. You've seen all these things, but I'm coming before you to acknowledge that they're, you know, here, that I want this one gone. I want this one changed. I want this one. And you just like lay it all out.
Mhm.
Um,
There's something about like confessing too,
mhm,
because I even like in my relationship with you, like I've told Tom recently that I mean, I tell Tom a lot of things and always have, but I'm trying to share even just the smallest of things with Tom, like even the things that I don't think he cares about, like because I think what happens is I'll have certain things built in my head and I won't communicate them to him, and then he's like, "What the heck? I didn't know you were like feeling that way," or "I didn't know about that." And but like even recently we had a conversation and it was like something that Tom has always noticed, but in the conversation, I said to him, I was like, I've actually always struggled with this. I've actually always had a really hard time with this. And I've never really been able to figure out why, but this is it, blah, 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 blah. And like, it was such a short and sweet conversation, but I feel like there was so much breakthrough just by simply voicing it to him. And
mhm.
I think that that's the same thing with God is I think that yes, God already knows and he's close to you and he, obviously knows everything and he's all powerful, but there's something about voicing certain things to him that that's where just something shifts in your relationship with him, you know?
100%. So, as we come to a close, what is a good piece of like maybe a suggestion or advice when it comes to how what has worked for you in spending alone time with God? Because I'll start just to buy you some time. Is that okay? Or do you got it?
I mean, you go ahead.
I would recommend something that's been beneficial for me. Turn your radio off in your car and drive in the silence. 100%. I did it yesterday. I do it on my early mornings, and just that time to process. Most of the time in those morning drives, it's uncomfortable, and I'd rather just mindlessly drive and listen to something stupid or music or something. But man, when you like unload on the stuff that worries you, the stuff that you care about, and just kind of let it sit, and then the morning drives, turning off your radio, turning off anything, it's just the sound of the car, and then you and God talking. What would you say?
Gosh, I feel like I have a few different things, but I would definitely say going on walks. I think that there's something that's very healing and just grounding about going outside. Like going outside, getting outside, no matter the weather, just getting outside and processing your thoughts. But I kind of will go back and forth between like thinking about something and then bringing God into it. Like it's not this constant moment of prayer. It's like a conversation, where you're like thinking about one thing and you're like, "Oh, yeah, Lord, help me with that." Or, "Yeah, God, like this happened and I feel this way." Or, having, I would say, like going on walks, but also I would say too, like we never really touched much on the self-care that you talked about, but I think it's really important. Self-care isn't always, I think it depends on how you look at it, but it's not a selfish thing. I think when Tom gets his alone time with Jesus, when I get my alone time with Jesus, or when we have those little moments where we're able to escape to like fill our cup, whether that's a walk or, Tom loves to play his guitar and sing. That's kind of like his form of being able to like do something that he loves and for himself. When you have those little moments, like I am convinced you're a better mother, you're a better wife, you respond better when you're able to make sure that your heart and your mind are taken care of too. So I don't think that it's a selfish thing. And also just know that all of these things are uncomfortable and they're not easy. It is so much easier to just scroll your phone. Tom and I have been talking about that recently, about how that really shouldn't be our form of relaxing, is scrolling our phones. Like we should open a book. Like we should, spend more quality time with our kids. We should get outside. Like there's so many other things that I think genuinely fill our cups more, but it's so easy to grab our phones and to just kind of go somewhere else. But like these, I don't think that genuinely helps you. You were listening to a podcast the other day and it said something about, that podcast that you always turn on, like volume 78.
Yeah, what'd they say though?
With the two guys and the girl.
I do know.
What
are they talking about?
She said something along the lines that we call it mindlessly scrolling, but that's actually not true. Our minds are like not capable of doing anything mindlessly.
Yeah, it's subconscious.
And I thought that was really interesting because, yeah, she was saying you think you're mindlessly scrolling, but your mind is still taking it in. So whether it's, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a bad thing that you're taking in, but like your brain is picking up on little things every single video that you hit.
Right.
And it's actually a lot more impactful than we think that it is.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I know mine was a little more long-winded, but that would be my encouragement, is like get outside of your comfort zone, sit with your thoughts, process them. And yeah.
Yeah. We probably only really scratched the surface of the power of it. And so maybe we come back and do like a part 2 or something. But I mean, it's just so powerful. Because again, going back to the question at the very beginning, how would you respond if I said, I just want to be alone? And I think we're just living in a world that goes, well, why?
Yeah,
Why would
why
you
would you
want to
want to
be
be
alone?
alone?
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to be alone sometimes,
Mhm.
you know? And so this week, maybe, I mean, I know that we will, but just trying to implement like that alone time, and not think like, oh my gosh, did I do something that they don't want to be around me?
Mhm.
But also don't abuse it too much. Be like, okay, I'm gonna go alone, go and be alone again. You're with the kids, you know.
Yeah.
And so we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification to be a part of the Faith Over Comfort family. And we've got a lot more exciting things that are coming up. It's almost, gosh, I don't know what episode. I think we're coming up to like episode 40 or something.
Oh wow.
We've been doing a couple of episodes. It's been a
Wow.
minute. So we have some exciting things coming. We love you guys so much. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.